Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today's pick a card, I felt really called to look at something that I'm not really sure at this point whether I need to put a trigger warning, because there could be a trigger warning associated with this, or it could be in fact something that is a really wonderful revelation. But I was called to look at what is something within you that the divine or your spirit team, whatever the highest level of channeling to you would represent, because this is meant to come from the highest good, highest level of sort of the spiritual sphere, the consciousness there. What would it like you to remember about yourself that you've forgotten, and why? And so this is why there could be a trigger warning, because it could be that there's some pain associated with this. We are going to look at some past life energy. We're going to look at the current energy. We're going to look at people around you and the balance, all of that kind of thing. So there could be some pain. You could have forgotten because it was a defense mechanism, but it's now time to reclaim that, own it and heal it, if that's what we're talking about. Or it could be some wonderful talent or ability that you've sort of suppressed in yourself or forgotten because you didn't know that you would be accepted, or people saw it and kind of competed and tried to gaslight you. There could be any number of things. Or it could just be that it's something from a past life that was a skill and ability and knowledge that it's now time to resurface. So that's what we're going to look at. What is it? Your kind of relationship to it, and how you can now use that memory to your highest good. So you can, of course, go to more than one pile if you wish, but what I did to try and help with the choice is I used the White Light Oracle, which to me is one of the highest order spiritual energy oracles I have. So I thought it was the fitting one to give us sort of an entry point to what this might be about. So one of these images or feelings or the kind of entities that are shown here might draw you particularly. But as I say, you could go to, or if you always go to pile 3, go to pile 3, whatever works for you, go to more than one if you want. But to help with the choice, hopefully, pile number 1 has Alpha of Alcyone. Pile number 2 has the Spirit Owl of 852 hertz. And pile number 3 has Lacia of Parvati. So we will see what that has to do with what it is that you are remembering. There are some other oracle cards under there to help us get a finer idea about that, and then tarot will tell us more about what we're specifically looking at. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, I've got the timestamps as always in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So what we have here, you came to the reading with the Alpha of Alcyone, which I will talk about as a bit of an overarching theme about what it is that the divine or your spirit team want you to remember. We've got a couple of sort of symbolic, lucid dream, synchronistic sort of energies to give a bit of an idea, and then also the emotional response to this memory. So this is great for the first for the first reading here. I think I'm looking at something that will ultimately be a very pleasant experience, and one that you kind of felt coming but you weren't sure about. And so it is like the return of an old friend, is this sense of knowing this about yourself with the energy that I'm seeing in that phase. And there is a sense of wisdom, and it makes sense with what this card is about, and we'll get to how this is operating. And I think it's telling us a little bit about why you forgot, and also what you can do with this when you remember, which is interesting. So Alpha of Alcyone. Alpha, firstly, are very calming brainwaves. So there is a sense around this about calm coming after the storm. So I feel that for pile 1, there's something about yourself coming out of a difficult time. Could be about love, because the Alcyone story is in fact of two lovers that brought about a jealousy from Hera, the wife of Zeus, and so she was sort of out to get them. But Alcyone was actually raised above that, and so was the lover, so that they could become kingfishers and they could be together. So there's a sort of like a grace idea around this, and a mercy idea around it. And Alcyone is actually the word that the concept of halcyon days is derived from. So when we think about halcyon days, it's like the days that are at their peak, that are at their best, that are glorious and wonderful. So I feel that this is a calling to you to remember a time, whether it's in this life that you've just gone through, or whether you've been going through something and it's asking you to remember a time where just when you felt things were going to be at their most difficult, grace came through. And it was like, aha, I recognize this energy. And what the divine is saying is because within you is that. Within you is this sort of steady sense of faith, but also a caring for others that rises above the pettiness that we often have in this world. So the divine here is wanting you to remember that you will be reflected in the face of the divine. That's what I'm getting. It's a very strong message. You will be reflected in the face of the divine. Your grace and mercy that you are showing in a time of trial is going to come back to you threefold. That's a very strong message I'm getting as well. This is a very powerful card, actually. I'm feeling a lot from the energy of whoever was photographed there, but certainly this is a very strong message that if you have been dealing with difficulties, grace is coming. Grace is a very beautiful thing, but there would be a reason in a sense that you might forget it, because it's something that we cannot presume upon. It's something that is given almost beyond being a reward or deserving it, but I'm getting very strongly it's because you do this. Because you do this. And this goes to the wood energy here: strong, organic, authentic, creative, well-built, stable. You are a rock for so many people. This is what the divine is saying to you. You are a rock for so many people. You are the stability for so many people. You probably don't even think you're doing it. You don't even think twice about it. This is the thing you've got to remember. It is the love story here that raised the two up to go to the halcyon days, so to speak. It is your love for other people. It is your, without even thinking about it, grace that you give to others. You don't even think about it. You are a rock. You are a steady ship. You are a well-planted, well-rooted tree for others. You are a shelter for others. Because of all of that, and you take it for granted in a way because it's just natural to you, that is coming to you. And the divine wants you to remember that about yourself and why grace is coming to you. Because there is a sense here that at the moment, your mind gets filled with so much stuff. We've got attic here: ungrounded, fearful, hiding, searching, overthinking. You are so calm, and you bring the halcyon energy into others without even thinking about it, but for yourself, like you're kind of like going 1,000 miles an hour. And it's like on some level, although you have the faith for others and you instill a faith in others, it's really beautiful energy. You've forgotten that will also come back for you. It's like with the attic there are memories from this life or recent things that make you feel that your own thoughts, your own beliefs, the things that you would have wanted to do are kind of almost hidden away in the attic. They're kind of like, gathering dust at this point. And I think this is saying no, your grace and your caring is meant to bring you your reward. This is what the divine wants you to remember, that you have deserved the grace, even though I say grace is often outside of an issue of deserving it, because it is so, so true to you. You do not see when you worry about your own things, when you lock away your own dreams, you may have been very self-sacrificing, when you do all of these sort of things, you don't see that what you're providing externally to others is this incredible stability and this incredible support and the belief in the growth of others. So this is you remembering you're allowed to grow too. You're allowed to have grace. You're allowed to stop worrying in your mind and actually take some of those old photos out and decide, who did I want to be, like 5 years ago or something. There's a sense here that maybe there is a forgotten dream that you packed away in the attic, and you're going to be asked to bring that back out because you're being rewarded. This is what this is about. Rewarded for the purity of your heart, rewarded for how much you have supported others, I think some of you, maybe even in your careers, you've coached and mentored others, maybe you've raised a family and it's been for your children, maybe you've supported a spouse in their dreams, maybe it's the person or your friends go to for that support. It's your turn. That's what the divine is saying. It's your turn. And I think so this is a welcome thing. It's surprising and it's not. That's what's interesting in this face. This face is happy. This face is welcoming, a little bit surprised, but also kind of like, oh yeah, of course, of course. Feel quite emotional. Don't know whether all of them are going to be like this, but I feel like this is something you really deserve to hear, and it's something really beautiful coming through. You're meant to remember who you are so that you understand it. It's almost as though don't overthink it when it comes through. It's like what I think the divine is saying is that something's coming to you, which is your reward, which is your time and your space. Don't overthink it. It's coming because you've done this for so many other people. Okay, so let's get a little bit more of an idea with tarot. I chose the Dreams Within Dreams Tarot because I felt We are almost in the dream world when we're talking about what the divine wants us most to remember. So we're first of all going to ask a little bit more about what you're meant to remember. Then we're going to ask, why did you forget? And then we're going to ask, why do you need to remember now? So, some cards dropped out. Shuffle them back in. So a little bit more about what is this grace and luck, I think, that you're being asked to remember why you deserve it so that you'll accept it when it comes in, is essentially what this is saying. So what more can Spirit or the Divine tell you about that? Death, Nine of Wands, Six of Cups reversed, the Sun reversed, the Queen of Wands reversed. Oh, yeah, okay. You have sacrificed a lot for other people. Whether you've done it consciously or not, it's so innate to you that you may not even sort of think you're doing it. You just might think everybody does it. Trust me, most people don't. So you're very rare on that level. There's a choice. The Divine is saying there's a choice you made a while ago to put your energy into, I think here, I feel like the Six of Cups here reversed is not about the past or letting go of the past. Though this is about probably something that you've done in the past, but I feel like it's picking up the element of the kind of childlike wonder. And I think it's showing that you put a lot of effort. You made a decision at some point to help those who'd got stuck or lost their sort of childlike wonder, lost their belief, lost their faith, into helping them over the finish line with the Nine of Wands. You made a choice to do it. It may, as I say, there is the potential that for some of you this is very much around family, but it doesn't have to have been. I just feel that on some level you couldn't be around someone who had lost their dreams without wanting to help them find the dreams again. It's just so innate in you. But it is a choice, and this is what you're meant to remember. You're meant to remember you did make a choice at some point. Now, whether this was in your upbringing in this life or whether it's something in a past life when you went at the end of the day, what can I give? What can I be? What can I serve? I can do it by reconnecting and reviving the joy, the innocence, the ambition, whatever it might be in others. Like I can do that. I can do that for others. You made a choice. This is the thing you're being asked to remember. And you're being asked to remember because the sort of like the other side of that has been to some degree you've made your own, maybe this life, maybe a few lives, less about your journey and more about how you support others. And you're being asked now, there's so much, it's knocking around in the attic of your soul, and it's time for you. And this doesn't mean that you're going to stop doing this. In fact, I think what the Divine wants you to know is that by reviving your own dream, you will come to a level where there's even more you can do for others. It actually, what I'm getting is, this is going to sound really weird, it's like refilling the battery. It's like somewhere along the line, I'd say you were very naturally talented, loving, caring, and you decided to dedicate that to helping others. And it's like by then putting aside the filling of your own cup to do that, you were able to do it a lot because you were so full of that. I mean, you were so full of kind of love and caring and grace. It's very, very interesting. But the batteries run out now. So you have to remember that you are worthy, more than worthy, of that grace and love yourself, so that you can lean on others, or maybe it's just the Divine. The Divine just wants you to have faith there and know that's coming through, because you have put aside your dreams for others for some reason. And I would say over a number of lifetimes. So this is what it's about. It's about remembering that. So what made you forget? Like, I think we've got a little bit of this around a choice there, but let's why in doing that did your soul forget almost your own grace and your own direction? Knight of Cups, Ten of Cups. Oh, wow, okay. Queen of Swords reversed, Queen of Cups. Oh, wow, okay. It's interesting, the last card that we're going to have in this is a goddess energy. It's a lot about the divine feminine around this with you. Doesn't matter what gender you are. That's not about gender. I think that whether it's in this life or whether it's in a number of lives, love made you do this. Like, your love made you forget yourself. Caring for family. Family does have a lot to do with this, but whether it's family in this life or whether it's family in other lives, you know, it will depend on who's coming to this reading. But romantic love too. I feel for some of you, you acted as a muse for someone, whether again in this life or in another life. So your fire or whatever went towards their dream, and you loved this person. You did it for that. For others, it was, you know, whether in this life or in other lives where sort of social constructs were different, being, you know, a parent, being a family member, you know, loving a partner. This was the thing that did it. It's interesting that it's a love story there. The love story was what triggered the risk, but it also showed, because of the purity of it, the gift. So you forgot because of love. You forgot yourself because of love. And your heart was very open. But the other thing that made you forget is, I would say, another female energy around you. Again, it doesn't have to literally have been a woman. It could have just been someone with kind of the feminine Queen of Swords reversed energy. There have been people, and I don't believe it's the people that you most deeply love, but there have been people around you who have limited you, criticized you, or put you down because in a way your selflessness made it possible. And that was painful. So instead of trying to claim your thing as well, in fact, you might have had some around you that said if you did try to do anything for yourself, you were being selfish. That's a possibility. But I think for others, it's like it became a license to put you down and criticize you, and it was painful, and you forgot. It's like if you just focus on what you can give, you don't have to feel what you have been denied. So that's what happened. So let's see, why does Spirit want you to remember now? Why does the divine want this to come up now? King of Swords reversed. The universe, so that's the world. Because it's time for whatever that was. There's a person. So it's either within this life, and now we've got the King of Swords reversed, we've got the Queen of Swords reversed. So we've got a person, as I say, it doesn't really matter what the gender is. And they may even have been in a past life a woman and in this life a man. Doesn't have to be, though. It's not a gender thing. But this is saying quite clearly that there was something, this is the key thing. This is why you forgot. You forgot to protect your heart, but you didn't forget the caring. So that's been something that you've done all through life. But now that tyrannical reign almost, and if you remember the story here, Hera got really jealous and upset about this love. So this tyrannical reign that maybe looked upon this loving, caring person and did it as a put down or a controlling thing, that is ending. It has to end now. You have to reclaim your light. And you know, like reclaim the things that are in the attic there. Now this could be because you're meant to do something creative, or otherwise it might be because a new love's coming in. But you've got to shine your light as well too. You've got to claim your beauty. You've got to claim your grace. And the only way you can do that is to remember what happens, not to feel angry or upset about it, to understand what occurred, let it go, let it finish, let the new energy come through. Because you're not going to lose this beautiful love and grace you have. That's who you are. But you're going to now allow yourself to pursue it for yourself as well. And this is what this message is about for you. So let's have a look at some past life stuff, because I do think for you there is a very strong past life energy around this. So we're going to have a couple of past life energies that are around the dynamics, the sort of lives you were having where you particularly forgot for whatever reason. And then we're going to look at past life energies that are important for why you need to remember now, that are kind of going to play out in a different way now, or skills or abilities or a focus that can help you. So a couple for why you forgot. The artisan's chisel, crafting beauty and function, leaving a mark on the world through creation as a teacher of the arts. It is possible that one of the ways that you forgot your creativity and you poured it into other people was teaching people about their creative arts, teaching them, teaching rather than doing. So this may have been the way that you supported others in some lives. And the nomadic tent, existence marked by travel, adaptability, or as a keeper of ancient migratory knowledge. So you may have found it hard to find your home as well. So if there was, and so therefore when you found it, you know, like with the 10 of Cups and so forth, when you found it, you would put everything into it. So there was a restlessness, finding the love, and then you would give a lot to it. And it may sometimes have been that you channeled your creativity, your abilities into teaching others, supporting others, your children, whatever it might have been. So the forgetting had something to do with wanting to find your home and wanting to be of service to those that you cared about. What past life energy is important to this memory now? So this is more about remembering who you are. The stonemason's edifice, skill in crafting enduring structures, shaping the stone of society's foundations, or being part of monumental constructions. You are bigger than just teaching. You are, as I said, you're the rock, you're the tree of life, you're that kind of thing. So the lives where you did the big ticket stuff, you are an artist on that level. You are a creator, not just a teacher, not just a muse. And the time weaver's tapestry, mastery over the intricate threads of fate and destiny, weaving together the strands of past, present and future. You're just there. You have spent time in lives where you have understood all of this. And this is part of the grace. It's part of why you have the grace, and it's part of why you have the heart you have. You have a really strong understanding of the imprint of past, present and future and how they all interconnect. That's why you will always come from a good place, even when you're met with cruelty. And I think you were. You have a bigger picture idea about this. So remembering the bigger picture idea, and therefore that you have a bigger thing to bring than just caring for others. It's lovely. It's beautiful. Your heart is beautiful, but it's time for you. That's what this message is, very, very strongly. So let's see on an everyday level. So if that's the past life thing, let's get an energy for the forgetting and the remembering on an everyday level, how that could be playing out in your life now. So the forgetting energy, toxic. Yeah, what was toxic? And I think it was when you were confronted by toxic things, or you might have had people telling you it was toxic if you looked after yourself. This was a way of dealing with toxicity. It was a way of cordoning it off from those that you cared about, and cordoning it off, in a sense, from you by just not pursuing all that you could be. That's the energy on it. Like when things are toxic around you, this is showing this energy again. If there are people around you that are showing that critical energy or demanding that you only ever think about them, that's the toxicity energy to be aware of. And then what do you need to remember about the grace? The tea. Okay, so this is partly the nourishing sort of concept, the energy, like and botanical teas, herbal teas, all the things that are nourishing. But it's also, there's something, the tea is normally kind of like, what's the word about you? What's the gossip? What's being said? So I think that this is to start to understand on a day-to-day level, when you are sitting and having tea with people, where is it healthy and growthful and people are just as interested in you as you are in them? That's a good communal shared energy. Where it's gossipy and toxic, it's that kind of thing. So I think there's a lot here. One of the things that the divine wants you to do is get a little bit more discriminating about who you spend your time with, to be frank. I think that there are people around you who take advantage of your kind heart, and those that like to feel superior in some way, feel that they're stronger than you, all these things, and they're not, but they like to think that sort of thing. So this is saying you need some time for you. You need to be only around those that are going to be supportive and nurturing on a day-to-day level. This is part of what you're needing to remember. So let's have a look then at some of the personality aspects. We're going to look at the personality aspects, a couple of around other people and a couple for you around why you forgot, and a couple again around other people and around you for what you should remember. So we're using astrology here just to sort of see a little bit more. So again, why you forgot, either in this life or in other lives. Other people, firstly. Sun in the 7th house, Libra, balance. Now this could be that you decided that you wanted to bring balance and negotiate. You may have felt that you had to negotiate, provide more, support others, put the social group ahead. Certainly if that was your energy. If it was somebody else's energy, I think they were misusing an ability to negotiate. The Queen of Swords reversed, the King of Swords reversed could be a very good negotiator, but one that is not going to come out with a fair outcome. So you may have wanted to forget that. Like, as I said, there's a kind of a decision, so it may even have been a kind of a bargain that you made, but it's time to forget it. Like the terms are over if that's the case. And around other people as well in terms of forgetting. Moon in the 11th house. Yeah, a lot of this has to do with other people, groups of people, putting the heart there, emotional need to belong. I think this is like part of what made you forget yourself was that you wanted to be with people you cared about, was that you wanted to put them first a lot of the time, but it was also something about belonging in the social and cultural groups that you were in. So that was the pressure on you from outside. What about you? I'm just going to draw actually one card for you in terms of what made you forget, and we'll draw two around helping you remember, but just one around you in all of this, because I feel like this is a lot about the environment that you're in and what demands you're around. So we have Uranus in the 10th house, Capricorn, needs to break free from societal expectations. You forgot rather than did that. And it's partly because you're a lovely person, but the divine wants you to remember because you gave up too much and some people took advantage of it. So let's see now in remembering, what do you need to know about other people? And it could be the people you're meant to be drawn towards, or it could be the people that you're meant to be aware of in remembering who you are. So we have the moon in the 7th house, Libra. Oh, so you've got the sun in the 7th house, and now we've got the moon in the 7th house. For some of you, if you aren't already in a significant relationship, there is a return. There's someone coming in, and they were probably good around this time, but maybe you were not able to be with them, or you had to put them first more than you should have, not because of, they desired it, but because of societal structures. Because I just feel like the sun and the moon together, both in the 7th house and Libra, there is a sense of potentially the sun-moon connection, the alchemical wedding. But otherwise, I think this is understanding the emotional nuances around social interaction. It says eager for reciprocation. So where you are around, this is a bit like the T, where you're with people who share with you, who give you support, all that kind of thing, who want to be reciprocal, that's the right thing. If that is lacking, then that tells you that this is not the right energy to be around. And Mars in the 8th house, Scorpio. Okay, yeah, there's a thing here. At its best, it's finding someone that you truly desire and desires you back, and that's wonderful. But Mars in Scorpio can be possessive, can be controlling. So that's got to end. You've got to move more into reciprocation and less in being somebody's possession. And then for you, and I'll just draw two cards now for you in remembering what Spirit wants you to focus on. Pluto in the 4th house, Cancer. You are meant to bring in the right family, the right connections and so forth. And being emotionally resilient around this because it has stopped you from being all you could be. But it's saying you have the grace. Grace will look after it. But you do have to allow yourself to put yourself first. And it takes a certain degree of strength and emotional resilience to do that. And Jupiter in the 4th house. Yeah, because you're meant to expand. Sweet home, you're meant to come into a better environment. It's telling you that's what you need to remember it for that reason. Even if that means in some cases, if you still have possessive, controlling and selfish people around you, that you need to make the changes to bring in the right energies and not always think, oh, am I going to hurt somebody's feelings or whatever. You have to think about your feelings as well and where are things reciprocated. Okay. So let's also have a look at the path of your soul around this. So we'll have a look at what you've forgotten, what you're meant to remember around your soul path. So the forgotten energy, focus, the bed of reeds, the rising moon brought into focus the moment it all changed. Remembering when this changed, remembering where at some point you negotiated, made a deal, made a decision that put others first. You are meant to get grace and a reward for this, but for that, what the divine is saying is for that to fully take form, you have to claim it. This is why it's important to understand the dynamic. And what is the memory? What is the memory coming back, the purpose of the memory coming back? Oh, beautiful. Repair, the golden seam. She took her flaws and filled them with gold, perfectly imperfect. You don't have to be all things to everybody. You don't have to be so self-sacrificial. There was a lot in you that broke apart and a lot that you lost because you gave so much to others. But when you understand your strength, you understand the golden energy of grace that is within you, and you use that to bring it all back together, just like the Japanese art that creates a stronger thing with using gold to bring together broken pottery, you can do the same thing. And there is a beauty to this. You are going to be stronger as a result of this, but you need to remember it. Okay, so how we're going to finish is we're going to get you a goddess energy. And this is meant to sort of say something within this memory that you are meant to fully take on as your power and your guide and your energy now that you've remembered. And we have Ain. Wow, isn't she beautiful? And I want to read you from the book, partly because I just think the message is perfect for what this is. It just perfectly distills it, really. So Ain is to let you know, is a Celtic sun goddess. So yes, shining your light. So this is about shining your light. The radiant Celtic sun goddess urges you to embrace your inner radiance, and you have it, your inner grace, your inner beauty, and shine your light upon the world. Embody the energy of joy and abundance, for they are your birthright. As you celebrate the seasons of life, remember that you are a ray of hope and transformation for those around you. It's so perfectly true. You're a very lovely energy. One would almost argue too lovely for your own good in some of the circumstances you've been in, but grace is coming for you. You are meant to have your reward now, but to fully have it and claim it, you need to remember. You need to remember that this beautiful heart belongs to you as well, and that you won't lose helping other people and supporting other people. You'll only grow in being able to do that by shining your light. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Spirit Owl of 852 Hertz. 852 Hertz is a particular frequency that helps you connect to higher level beings. So it makes absolute sense for this reading because that's what we're channeling, the highest level being kind of energy that you would want to connect to. And as I said, that could be the divine, it could be your spirit team, whatever in your heart you were choosing or thinking about for this. Spirit Owl is all about wisdom. Owls, of course, theoretically, I think can see in all directions. There's a high degree of perception. This is all about that perception, understanding, wisdom. So you are being asked to remember your depth of perception, your connection to the higher realms, your capacity to see what is real and to see past illusion. Now, one of the reasons that you're being asked to remember it, I think, is because it's a wearying thing on one level to see what you see. And in fact, there may even be a side of you that tries not to see. So you're being asked to remember that you can see it and that you can connect to the higher order beings and that they will help you deal with the lower order beings. I feel that for the people here in this reading, you are called to be witness to this modern world. You are called to be witness to the difficulties and the challenges and the creeping darkness and all of those sort of things. And there may be a side of you that does not want to remember that, does not want to do that. You may have gone through a lot of healing within yourself to try and deal with it. You may have had many lifetimes, or even within this lifetime, put an enormous amount of energy into helping others and into trying to support and fight the many sort of like monsters in our world and all of that kind of thing. There's a kind of a weariness, but there's also the sort of like the wisdom of age. And you don't have to be old for this. This could be other lifetimes and you've brought that in. But you're being asked to remember it because your strength is going to be called upon. You have a power and a strength, a courage, an incredible instinct, an incredible wisdom. And it is to ultimately help yourself and others heal. This is a gift you have that you're kind of trying not to see. It might be calling you literally to do some sort of therapeutic work or some sort of spiritual work in this place, or it just might be that the time is coming where you have to bear witness and you have to support and be the strength. And you are kind of resisting it, and it's perfectly understandable. In a weird way, it's wise to do it. It's, as I often say, there's that maxim that the person who is best suited to be the president of the United States is the person who doesn't want to be. It's a very similar thing here. The person who has the true wisdom to see what is going on, to understand how power is being used in the world, to understand what the world needs to heal from that rather than be more harmed, will always at first go, do I even want to do this? Do I even want to touch it? If you don't, if you just want to run forward with the power and go, I'm better than everybody, I know more than everybody, you're not the solution. So this is saying that you are part of the solution, whether you like it or not. And Spirit is asking you to remember Remember your strength. Remember that you're ultimately a healer, and remember that you too will be healed and can heal, particularly with that connection. It's saying in particular with the spirit owl connects you with a higher level of vibration so that you can deal with lower level vibration people without judgment, without arrogance, without any of that sort of thing, to create the best possible outcome. So that's where power really comes from, but your wish not to have it is part of the reason why you're the right person to have it. So it's an interesting energy. So let's see a little bit more about it. We're going to ask a little bit more about what you're being asked to remember right now. We're going to be asked why you forgot. And then we're going to be asking, why do you need to remember it now? Like, why now? So firstly, a little bit more about what it is that you've forgotten, that the divine or your higher order beings, however that works for you in your sort of belief structure, are asking you to remember now. Strength reversed, the Magician, Knight of Wands reversed, Four of Wands reversed, the Traveller or the Fool. Okay, because you're being called to the new journey. You're being called to the new purpose, the new journey with the Traveller there. And each time it's like a new beginning. And each time it does take some of your strength. It's interesting with the strength reversed, and then we have the Bear there. There's this sort of sense that you have these reserves of strength, but you're being asked to remember that you've been at a low ebb before, because I feel like you feel at a low ebb right now. I feel like something might have rocked your world. You might have believed that, you were in a democracy and you've woken up and you feel like you're in a fascistic state. I wouldn't blame people for feeling that in general in the world at the moment, or something like that. It's like something shocked you to know that you're being called to a new journey, and your strength and your healing energy and your wisdom is going to be called on. But it's sort of like there is a fear of like, do I even have the strength? Do I, how will this deplete me? Will it mean that I, need healing, that I exhaust myself? So you're being asked to remember you've been at this low ebb before, but that you have the sort of magical ability and the connection to the higher realms to reconnect and to draw from that when you need it. You're also being asked to remember that at times when you've done this, you might have burnt yourself out a bit, but you have the learning. So you're being asked to remember the wisdom of pacing yourself and using your talents to their highest order. That's part of it. And you're being asked to remember how you can tell when this is necessary, with the Four of Wands reversed, when teams, families, friendship groups, whatever it is, are starting to become very fractured and competitive and so forth. That is when you are being called to this journey again. But the memory is knowing you've been through this before, you've learned, you have a lot of wisdom, and you now know how best to pace yourself. And also how to heal yourself, because you've done it before. That's what this is saying. And you may have done it in this life, and it's time to sort of come back to the phrase, so to speak, or it may be from past lives. So let's ask, what made you forget? What made you forget really that you have this wisdom and this strength and this capacity to do it? And that kind of you're called to do it, whether you want to or not. Sorry. So what made you forget? 10 of Wands, 8 of Cups, 10 of Cups reversed. Oh, okay. King of Swords. Okay, there's at least one time, whether it's in this life that's made you shut down on this, or whether it's from a past life, there's a time where your necessity to stand for the truth has cost you dearly in some emotional situation, maybe family situation, social situation. And it's just like it was so much of a burden. It was so exhausting that it was like, instead of like remembering, you just tried to shut it all down and forget. Paper over it, write it as something else, understand it in a different way. So whatever it was, and as I say, it's a kind of a shock to the system, it cost you in love or in your social acceptance, or it's more those sort of things. It's like love or social acceptance or being included, soul family, actual family, rather than, it doesn't look necessarily that it cost you materially. Maybe it was exhausting, but I don't think it cost you materially. It broke your heart, but you had to stand for the truth, even when This is a very interesting energy, actually. I can see why you're going to be asked to remember this now, because there is such a big thing in the world now about censorship and groupthink and all of that kind of thing. And it's dangerous. I think we're in a dangerous point. We need people like you. So you're going to be called upon. But I understand why you would have some degree of wanting to forget rather than remember and take it on. But let's ask Spirit why. Why now? Why are you being asked to remember this now? Queen of Wands reversed. Queen of Cups. Ace of Wands. There's something precious that you're going to be asked to support. And the only way you can do it is to really understand the environment that you're in. It might be a creative thing of your own. It might be someone that you care about and who they are in the world. There's a real possibility. Like, the beauty about this is there's a real possibility for something more new energy, authentic, caring to come in rather than the exhausted energy. It feels like it could be a cause that you had, that you're asked to pick up the thing again, because the time is going to be right now. You have the wisdom, you have the understanding, you have the strength, you have the learning, you're ready to actually win at something that maybe didn't work before. And it's your emotional authenticity and your fiery drive and energy that does it. Or there's someone or something very precious that you're going to protect through doing this. It's one or the other, and it'll probably depend upon who's come to the reading. So let's have a look at past life energies on this. We're going to have a look at a couple of past lives that might have had something to do with you forgetting this side of your nature, and then we'll have a look at a couple of past lives that are important for why now you're meant to remember it. So these are just types of past lives, activities and energies that you may have had. So in the why you forgot side of the ledger, we firstly have Innkeeper's Key, a life central to community, providing respite and sanctuary as a confidant for travellers and locals alike. So community had a lot to do with this, fitting into community, making people feel safe and secure. One of the things about this energy, when you really see the truth and you have the strength to move forward with the truth, is it's not always the most security enabling sense. You probably challenge people and so forth. So there are lives where partly your role was to make people feel safe and secure. So that's part of it as well too. Your strength on occasions was called to do something very different. And it is part of your nature to be protective. And then we have the Smith's Anvil, a history forging through adversity, shaping destinies with strength and resilience. There's a kind of a stoicism energy with you, actually, and that might be part of it as well too. You're being asked to remember that you can connect with the upper realms and bring your strength through to heal something rather than just be the force that is keeping it away from everybody else. It's very protective. You've used this very protectively before. So why remember now? What past life energy is important to remembering now? The Alchemist's Elixir, transformation, personal alchemy, or the pursuit of life's quintessence. It's about healing. Healing for you and healing for others. This is almost like what this is saying is that you've been incredibly strong and protective of others, and you really do see the darkness, and you have to be able to see the darkness to protect people. You won't know how to protect them unless you're prepared to look at it. But it's a very exhausting thing to do that and to be the one holding away the darkness. This is saying that became your go-to way of doing things. This is why it's exhausting and you don't really want to see it again. But this is saying you also have from past lives the capacity to heal and to purify the energy. And so you're going to be asked to remember that's the other side of this. It's not just your strength, it's also your inner healing ability. And yes, the Philosopher's Stone, the ultimate thing that the alchemists look for. Dedication to solving life's great mysteries, engaging in profound thought as a purveyor of wisdom. This is like, it's saying, actually it's giving me another nuance of what you've forgotten. I don't think you've forgotten that you're strong and you're able to protect others. That is so strongly imbued in you that you would not forget it. What you've forgotten is you kind of figured it out. You either figured it out without realizing you'd done it earlier in this life and you're being asked to remember that now for something, or you did it in other lives. You found a way to move from being the protector to being the healer, and you're being asked to remember that now. Okay. So let's see day-to-day current energies. We're just going to get one card for each. So day-to-day energies that are kind of connecting back to the reason that you forgot. Oh, this is interesting. This came up for another one, toxic. There's a toxic energy you have to deal with. You know, when you see the toxicity, you know, and your first go-to instinct from the past when you're not remembering this side of the ledger is to just protect everybody. And some of that may be even denying that the issue happens, denying it's happening, kind of putting up the boundary, letting everybody think everything is fine. Like toxicity does this. What about the everyday energy that's important for you? Remembering your healing ability, pile 2. Strength, knowing your own strength. You do have your strength. Your strength is also in healing. When you're being called upon to be strong, it's also remember to be healing as well. Remember that you're not just being the boundary to keep it all out, you're also being the healing energy that removes the threat and helps people if they've been dealing with the difficulty as well. That's what you're being asked to remember, that you are innately a healer. You have the wisdom for that. And it's a replenishing energy. When you're just doing this, you do keep losing your energy because it's just tiring. When you do this, you heal yourself and others in a kind of a reciprocal energy. So talking about people and others, let's have a look at some of the people energy using astrology. So let's look firstly here, a couple of cards around people energy that was important in the lives where you really were just more I'm going to protect everybody. And this could be people that were the cause of the problem that you're protecting others from, or it might be something about how you related to others in that protective rather than just healing mode. So we have Venus in the 9th house, Sagittarius. You wanted everybody else to be joyful, happy, free. It's like, it literally is, I almost see you like a physical boundary around a city and everybody within can be enjoying it and not seeing what's outside. You did this from a deep belief in wanting other people to feel free and joyous. Other people to have love. And, you know, some of it may have been protecting a lover too that made you feel free even when you were dealing with this energy. And Mercury in the 1st house. Okay, so this is how you defined yourself and this is how you communicated yourself as the person who wanted joy, freedom, liberation. So when you saw the threats to that, to others, to those you cared about, you became the boundary, which is tiring. So what did that do to you astrologically? Moon in the 2nd house, Taurus, I have. Emotionally attached to possession. You became very emotionally attached to the material side of this and what you could create for others and for yourself. It's very protective, very, very enclosing energy. And so to some degree you lost, for at least yourself, the freedom, even if you created that for others. So then how is this working now in what you're meant to remember? Like how do other people now figure around that? Venus in the 5th house. Okay, so you're meant to have love, you're meant to have happiness, you're meant to have that in a way that's more creative. It's less about freedom, it's more about connection this time around, I think. We also have Aries rising, and your strength moving forward, doing things, being free. It's actually enacting it and starting new things, the traveler, the fool energy. Like you're meant to sort of move forward with people, initiate new things, not just protect what exists. And then we'll get a couple of cards for you about how you should manifest. If that's other people are asking you to lead, other people are asking you to be in love with love and connect on that level. What about you? Saturn in the 10th house, Capricorn. Okay, there is something about turning this into work, I think, or turning it into something that you can manifest. There's also a sort of sense there's learning to use time as an ally. Like as I said, this was meant to show you could slow down a bit. You don't have to rush into anything. You have the wisdom, and Saturn is wisdom. The wisdom of time. You have the wisdom of time to allow yourself to be more considered and have like more of a leadership side around all of this. And Mars in the 6th house, Virgo, health, healing others. Highly productive, yes. You can turn a lot of this energy into doing things, healing things. The Virgo, integrating and synthesizing both the strength and the healing energy, all of those things. But it's about action. It's about action in the material world, using your wisdom rather than just protection. I think that's the key thing. The healing energy is in bringing a sense of dynamism and capacity to grow, build, and move forward, as opposed to just protect where one is. So, and that's in whatever you're seeing in the world at the moment. It's how do we continue with a forward momentum, not sort of just be trying to protect the past, but find the future that we want, rather than being kind of like pushed into a future we wouldn't want. That's the energy that this is talking about. So let's see the energy of your soul in what you forgot and the reason that you forgot it and what you are remembering now. Divine timing, the timekeeper, a passage of time and expected wait, tick tock, yeah. You were always waiting for the shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop, the issue to come, that, you know, like again, it's like I'm seeing you both as a physical boundary, but also the watchman on the boundary. Watching, you know, like daylight, you know, night, day. When was the hour coming? You know, you were always preparing for that. But in remembering the healing energy that you have as well for you now. Oh, beautiful rebirth, the holy font. Drink deep from the cup of the sacred spring. Receive and be reborn. This is like, you are also meant to remember that you were reborn, you were able to heal, you were able to heal others. It's not just fighting the darkness, it's also creating the light. That's what this is all about. Okay, so we're going to finish with the goddess energy to be a kind of encapsulation of the power and energy that you're meant to be when you have fully remembered this aspect of yourself. And we get Angneo. Now, I may not be pronouncing that correctly. I do not know this goddess, but I want to read you from the book for this because I think the book beautifully describes the energy, and I think that's the really important thing at the moment. Oh, wow. Okay, this makes sense. This is showing you a different way to do what you've always wanted to do, and there's a weariness, but how you can fully do it with the healing energy, because Angneo, her energy is protect your loved ones. The Korean bear woman, wasn't that a bear? Pretty sure that was a bear. Yes, it was. Wow, okay. Korean bear woman is a symbol of strength and motherhood, invites you to tap into your inner power and protective instincts. Just as Angneo cared for the first king, let her guidance remind you of the nurturing fortitude within you. Embrace the fierce love of a mother and protector. So you are still allowed to protect, but it is in remembering that part of that is your healing energy, your alchemical energy, the wisdom that you have, your connection to the higher realms. That will replenish you and heal you so that you can do this. But you are a symbol of strength for others, and it's because of your wisdom and your caring. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Lasya of Parvati. The first thing I want to say beyond anything else that really struck me is that you are so ready to remember this. You are so ready. That's what this shows. Like, look at the energy in that face. It's like, yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. I'm ready. I'm confident. It's time. You know, there's just a sense of like, yep, I've seen this coming. I've known it. Probably many of you are very psychic, very precognitive, very prophetic, that kind of energy. But you're so ready. You're so ready. So that's good. We're not going to be looking at a really difficult thing to remember here. And it's interesting because what you're being asked to remember is your connection to creation in one form or another. Lasya of Parvati. Parvati is a goddess of motherhood, creation, and so forth, the consort of Shiva. So this is all about either reconnecting with your sense of divine feminine, creativity, nurturing, particularly when we've got baby here, innocence, new beginnings, motherhood, pregnancy. For some of you, it may be saying you're about to start a family, and this is remembering how true this is to your heart. So that's going to be very specific, but otherwise this is allegorical. This is your connection to creativity. And we have creativity that is passionate and fiery as well. The interesting thing, and it'll be interesting to see as we go with this, is that Parvati can also manifest as Kali. So that's where there needs to be the destructive energy to allow for new creation. And so I find it very interesting that we've got fire here: passion, creativity, action, initiative, drive, willpower. But also, fire can be destructive, it can be chaotic. And then we have baby, innocence, new beginnings. There's a sort of a sense that you've seen this over and over. Like in this way, you're a very old soul. You've seen it, you know, you go, okay, ready, I'm ready. It's time. It's time to create the new thing. It's time for the new inspiration. It's time for the old world to fall and the new world to be born, whatever it might be. But it's your connection to that creative process that you're being asked to remember. And so it's possible that you know these cycles, but you somehow bowed out of your own creative energy, whether it was, you know, I'm not going to have a family, or I'm not going to be a creative, I'm going to be sensible and, you know, be an accountant or something. Not that accountants can't be creative, but I'm just saying, like, not going to a very creative career in the way we tend to think about it, but a more conventional one. Could have been anything like that, or it could have been that, you know, you've been training and getting ready for this, and now, you know, you're ready and you're remembering it because it's probably a skill and ability and natural energy that you have that has come through from other lifetimes as well. But whatever it is, the good news is there's not the sense for you that this is an unwelcome memory. So that is good, but it is something you're meant to remember, something about the cycles of creativity and your ability in that way. So let's get a little bit more information about what that is. Let's also then ask, why did you forget this? Why did you forget this natural creative ability? And whether that's in this life or another life. And then we're also going to ask, why do you need to remember it now? What's so important about it now? So a little bit more about what you forgot that you're being asked to remember. Knight of Coins, Queen of Swords, Three of Swords reversed, Ace of Cups reversed, Queen of Coins. Okay. Now, it's interesting that I said that I wondered whether for some of you, you've done a very sort of material conservative sort of choice, and you're now being asked to remember, yeah, I guess what the cost of that was, and where to connect to your heart and your creativity and the divine feminine, because that's kind of what this is saying. It's sort of saying that it's not so much saying what you forgot, because I think it's very clear what you forgot. I think what it's saying is sort of why it happened. So we're going to kind of have two layers of that, because the next one was supposed to be what made you forget. But I think this is sort of like more the context that you need to be aware of. Maybe because you're ready for this, but you need to understand the mechanics of what made you forget, because they could potentially do it again. Maybe that's why this is coming up, because there's something very material: job, career, stability. If this is around family, it might have been that you put it aside. You didn't really forget it, but you put it aside because you were waiting until you were in a material position to be able to start a family, potentially. Health-wise, money-wise, career-wise, whatever it was. But otherwise, I do think that this is saying you're very clever, and you kind of know how to avoid material difficulty. Like, you're really good at that. It's one of the reasons also why, in fact, this creative energy, actually, this is what I'm getting. The creative energy that you have, you are able to create very good material outcomes. And you're very clever about doing it, very strategic. So you've probably put a lot of that energy into very material things. And you've almost lost the first principle of the creative joy and the love and the connection like that. So that's part of this. And to some degree, because you're so clever at that, you've avoided some of the pains that come from the more pure form of creativity, or from the creativity that comes from the heart. So it's like whether it's like, you know, the birth pains of motherhood, or whether it's the pain that we will automatically get when we're creating something that is, you know, like a book that we write or some art that we paint or something like that. There's much more potential for pain in the rejection of that than the more pragmatic, what do I create in a career? So I think what the divine wants you to do is remember that you have this massively strong creative ability on all elements. So it's not, you shouldn't be avoiding one of them. I think this is what it's talking about. You shouldn't be avoiding one of them, because you've got all kinds of ways of rationalizing that and saying it's pragmatic and like, oh, I'm just doing what I need to do and I need to make money, and at some point maybe I'll be able to, you know, go off and write a book. In fact, it makes me think of a friend of mine from years ago who had a beautiful style of writing. And, you know, he and his wife had, you know, really really a lot of sort of like potential financially even then for him to take some time off and just write. But it was kind of like, unless something came along that gave even more money to them, he just wouldn't do it. And so he didn't do it, and it was, and all these good reasons, well, we're starting a family, we're doing this, and all of that kind of made sense in a way. But on another level, he was denying his own creativity. And I feel that happens sometimes when there is a fear of, that doesn't matter as much to me if that doesn't work. So because I know that I'm clever enough to do something else, but my true creativity, what is truly of my heart, if that didn't work, that would break my heart. So I think there's something like that going on. That's what this is about, because you're being asked to realize how creative you are by your nature. So let's see, why did you forget? A little bit more about why did you forget that side of your creative ability. Six of Swords, the Hierophant reversed, Two of Cups, Seven of Wands. Okay, all right. I wouldn't be surprised if quite a lot of you were very precocious when you were young at school or something like this, and your talents were there, but it wasn't accepted. Like, this is just one way of reading this. It wasn't accepted. It was sort of like, if you wanted peace in the classroom, you just did what everybody else did. So you turned your creative energy and your genius and your cleverness to working out the system and just doing the system. You wanted to get on with people, and you didn't yet feel the courage to be something different. So I think that there was a kind of a conformity energy for you, and it worked because you're very, very good at it. The creative energy that you have also allows you to see the systems and the patterns that goes with being very creative. So I feel like you kind of forgot the first principles, what would be the brave thing to do to fit in. And this could have been, like socially, it could have been in your family, as I say, school, in the workplace. And there's nothing really wrong with it. You're very, very good at it. But it is saying at this point that what you're doing is you're not moving into the true kind of combination of Kali and Parvati together that creates the truly new, and you actually have that ability. So you're underselling yourself, basically. So it was kind of like not feeling, and it's also, I think, there's a competitive thing. I think that you learned how to do really well in the material world and compete really well and did really, really well, but you weren't sure about your ability to compete in what really mattered to you. So there's a kind of a, what if my ability isn't enough? And I think the spirit is trying to say to you, it is. Remember what you're doing, and understand that your very dexterity in doing this in the more material things is an indication of the breadth of your talent, not the limits of it. That's what it's trying to talk about. So why in particular now does Divine want you to know and remember this about yourself? Knight of Cups, Four of Wands, Ten of Cups. Wow, okay, there's a couple of things. Firstly, for some of you, if you fully embrace this, now, actually, step back. For some of you, if this is about the creativity of a family, everything is ready. You have the right love, you have the right home connection, the family is waiting to be born, the baby is waiting to be born. So if that is literally what this is about, then remember, yes, you have more than enough ability to do that. But if this is not about creating a child, creating a family in that way, this is saying that there is something that you can create now that not only will be accepted, but is actually going to be joyfully accepted. There's something that you could now bring into being, using your creative ability that will be immeasurably pleasurable to others, and is likely to have a very, very strong response, because it comes from the heart. It seems to be very healthy. It seems to be very connected. It's connecting the two things. You have a genius for understanding the systems and the people and the social groups and so forth that you're in, but you also have this creative spark. You bring the two together and you'll create something that is very, very nourishing, not only to yourself but to others. And it's needed in this world on some level. It's needed more now for you to, bring out your novel, your album of songs, whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be that creative in that way, but whatever it is, it's going to be very, very nourishing and healing for other people. So that's, rather than just go, okay, I'm clever at what I do, I get on well, I know what I'm doing, it's like now I'm going to do what's in my heart, because that's going to share that with other people. Wow, okay, so let's have a look at some past life energy and how that's impacted. So we're going to get a couple of cards for past lives that influenced you to forget that side. of you, and then a couple of past lives that could help you remember. So past life types of lives and energies that you're around that kind of caused you, I think, to really use this creative energy in a very political, pragmatic, material way, to forget some of the innate creative love that you had. The Sentinel's watch, vigilance, guardianship, or the bearing of witness to historical events. I think that you had a very protective role in past lives. You were watching rather than doing. And it's interesting because any creative does watch, that is the case, because you watch and you take things in and then you recreate it. But that the watching made you incredibly good at knowing what you were dealing with. That's why you can do it so well materially. But while you're watching, you're not participating. So there was sort of something in that space for you. And the potter's wheel, molding and adapting, creating functional art, or as a creator, a keeper of elemental craft. So yeah, I think to the degree that you did do your creative energy, it was always functional. It was always material. There's something that's more of the heart and more mercurial about your energy, I think, that you're meant to tap into now. So then what past lives could help you? The energy from past lives could help you in remembering that side of your creativity. The ruler's scepter, leadership, authority, or the wielding of power over a domain. That's interesting. I think that's picking up some of this Kali energy. I think that remembering that you are kind of, and our first principles, you are a leader. You are meant to sort of like create a new world, a new kingdom in some way, rather than just support and add to an existing system. There's a side of you, and it's interesting actually, because some of the people that I've known in my life who are very, very good at what they do, very creative or very spiritual or whatever, something that I've often seen in them is you get this sense that they maybe were a king or a queen in a past life, and it's actually something they have to get over and remember, because there's almost a sort of a sense of the first time you do something, it should immediately be accepted because at one stage your word was law. And it can become a very destabilizing or challenging thing in a life where you're not a ruler, because then you're in the competitive sway. Then you do have to like work out, who else is, people aren't going to instantly listen to you just because you've spoken. So I feel like there's something there for you as well. That power and creative energy is there, and it was at one point put into a space where you had a huge terrain and ability to do something. You're meant to remember that for two reasons. One is that you're meant to remember that you're allowed to gradually develop this. And even if they're kind of like iterations, like you write a novel and then you've got to edit it a few times, that's okay. It doesn't have to be accepted immediately because you're not ruling something now. You're trying to create something from your heart. So that's interesting. And the sovereign's crown, past life, bearing the weight of leadership, governance or rule, the complexities of diplomacy and duty. So it's a double whammy to this. There is definitely sort of something where you've had power and where your word was law, and where therefore what you were creating was the thing that everybody tried to sort of support, unless you were waging war and they were waging war on you. But generally that was there. But there's another side to this. It's like the weight of responsibility, the weight of the crown. So it's sort of, again, if you kind of just work at kind of protecting the existing order and you work really well in that and you use your creativity in that, it's not as weighty as doing this, but there is something so beautiful. I think it's sort of saying, remember what strength you have. Remember you can do that. Remember you have a life like that for a reason. Now you're not necessarily asked to rule, but you're meant to sort of like create a beautiful energy within a community, a family, a workplace, whatever it is. And you can only do that if you remember that other side of your creativity, which was more about what was your divine connection, because, the ruler's divine rights, divine kingdoms, that kind of thing. There's something like that you're meant to remember. It's interesting. So let's see how it's operating on the everyday. So let's see everyday energies that are showing the pressure to forget. Traffic, it's just all the, where things get blocked, where things are sort of crowded out, just the administrivia in a workplace, the distractions, they're all kind of the things that kind of make you forget that, because you're just dealing, like it's like you're dealing with urban planning rather than what the whole city would be like, that kind of thing. So what about what you're seeing in the everyday world that is trying to coax you to remember? The snake. Okay. So there's 2 levels to that. You might be being required to do this because it's like it could be wisdom, returning of wisdom and the wisdom of what you have, but it might also be that in the end there's something you can create that can vanquish a snake, vanquish someone who is not being appropriate in the way they're using their power and so forth. You could understand and remember what it was to be powerful when you see someone in a workplace, in a family group, or whatever it might be that is being a snake. So it's calling on that other side of you. And that's, again, the Kali energy. There's quite a strong Kali energy with you, actually, but in its positive form of breaking down what needs to be broken down to bring through the new. Okay, so that brings us, interestingly, to the impact of other people. So we're going to use astrology. We're going to get a couple of cards for other people impact on you that made you forget, and then a little bit about your energy in that forgetting, and then other people's impact on you now that's making you remember, and what that means for you in terms of your personality. So in what made you forget, either in this life or in other lives. Sun in the 8th house, Scorpio. Wow, intensity, being around intense people who want a lot. For some of you, you may have felt you had to do a lot materially because, like people around you, lovers, friends, family, wanted a lot intensity of desire. You just may have had a lot of people expecting you to provide for them. We have Leo rising and ones that wanted to be the star. So, this almost has a feeling, whether in this life or in another life, it's like you were the elder child or something that had to kind of look after everybody, help with the material side of things, bring in the money, all of that kind of thing, while everybody else got to go out and have fun. But there's something like that. There's something where you just got very pragmatic as a way of dealing with demands on you from other people. So what impact did that have on you? Mars in the 4th house in Cancer, I feel, rules the roost. Like maybe the way that you dealt with it was saying, okay, I'm bringing the money in, and this is where your rulership was there, rather than the bigger picture rulership. Okay, I'll sacrifice my creative side and I'll provide the material outcomes, and you all can do what you want, but I'm going to rule the roost. So it was sort of like, it was that kind of energy. What about what's asking you to remember? How do other people help you remember? Either through triggering you to do it or through supporting it. We have Moon in the 11th house, Aquarius, I know, emotional need to belong. So it's either that this is something your need to belong and how that stopped you from creating that does it, or it might be that there's a promise here of truly belonging. So it could be that other people are going to show you, if you use that creativity, this is when you will truly belong, particularly emotionally. Have Jupiter in the 5th house, Leo, I will. Yeah, expansive creativity. There are people that are coming in, if they haven't already, that are meant to give you that sense of self and that you can create. There is good energy coming in, I think. That's why the timing is important now, so that you don't just stay stuck in what you're doing. Okay, so let's just get a couple of cards for how you remember for you, personality-wise. So Jupiter in the 7th house, Libra, cooperative. Yeah, I think, there's something here. I think that it's your creativity, your leadership, you really using your skills, but it's somehow in cooperation with others. It's going to make you feel okay about doing it. It's almost a transition thing. And there is an opportunity for that coming in. And your generosity, you're a very generous person. And Mars in the 5th house, Leo, I will, proud. Yeah, being proud of what you can create. Winning, this is when you really come into now. It's almost like you spend some lives looking after everybody, providing for everybody, and you've probably been doing quite a bit of that in this life, to be honest. But the trade-off of that was, because of the amount of strength you had, is you kind of created the rules and you created the sense of security and so forth around. Now you're being asked to find your true creativity, because it's going to allow you to expand and take your action to where you really become who you are. And it's a way of getting back that sense of rulership in a more healthy way that you've had before, when you maybe had a life sort of in a royal sort of household or something like that. But it's bringing it into this world through your creativity, and understanding it was always your creativity that even gave you both types of past life. Okay, all right, so let's have a look at your soul energy, both in what you forgot and what you're remembering. So what you forgot Inner search, the shadow path. Walk the dark path, follow the shadow, let it guide you to the light. I think that part of this is by focusing on the material, focusing your degree of creative control on those that you were protecting and providing for. It was a shadow side of you, and you forgot that that was taking a shadow energy rather than into the pure creativity that is cooperative. So I think this is saying that your skill and ability and all of that, it's very functional, but it sort of took you away from understanding the shadow of those choices. So where are you heading to now? Wow, courage, the breakthrough. By facing your fears, you open your world, believe in yourself. Yeah, to be able to believe in yourself. This is all about you believing in yourself because you're a highly creative, a highly original person. And that's what you're meant to remember. Okay, so just to finish off, we're going to bring you a goddess. So a goddess energy that when you really remember this and take it on, you would embody. Oh, this is interesting. This came up for one other. So some of you may have gone to two, which is fine. Anyo, I'm going to read it again. This is all about strength, and there is a lot of strength in this. So I'm going to read from the book because I think it beautifully puts it. So just give me a second to get to it. It's right at the end because it's late in the alphabet with the U. Protect your loved ones. So you are going to protect your loved ones. It's a different way of protecting your loved ones, though. You're all about love, connection, connecting the innocent, the passion, the creativity, but it's not so much just in being clever, because you're really, really clever. It's also in cooperatively using your true creative ability. The Korean bear woman, symbol of strength and motherhood, invites you to tap into your inner power and protective instincts. Just as Anyo cared for the first king. This is you caring for you again in your own royal way, your own new journey that is just yours. So just as Anyo cared for the first king, let her guidance remind you of the nurturing fortitude within you. Embrace the fierce love of a mother and protector. So you don't need to lose the connection to others. This is how to even heighten it and bring even more to it. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.